Let me show you my way to make an easy homemade green bean casserole. All right, we've got some water boiling in a pot. The first thing we want to do to get started on our green bean casserole, of course, is get that water going. We've got it boiling here. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it up just a little bit. I think I turned it, yeah, I did turn it up. Now, I'm gonna take some chicken bouillon here. You can use as little as much as you want. I'm gonna use about a little over a teaspoon, probably a couple teaspoons. And I'm just gonna flavor that water just a little bit. Just giving these green beans just a little bit of flavor. Now I'm just blanching these green beans here. I've took some string beans, some French cut green beans, kind of trimmed the ends off and cut them in half. I've got 1 pound here. I'm gonna get them in my pot. They're gonna go in. I'm gonna get that lid on for just a second, and I'm gonna set a timer for about 4 minutes to blanch these green beans. 4 to 5 minutes, pull them out, get them in some cold water, chill them, and we're finna start making up a sauce for this green bean casserole. All right, we've got our Yeti cast iron pan heated up here. I'm gonna go in with a good tablespoon of butter. And when you start getting your butter melted down, that's when you're gonna add your mushrooms in. Now, I've got 1 box of mushrooms washed and sliced. You can use white mushrooms if you want, but I'm a portabella man. Now, we're just gonna cook these mushrooms down just a little bit till they start reducing all the water out of them. And at the same time while we're doing that, I'm gonna add about a half an onion in. Now, you just wanna start getting these translucent and all tender. All right, it's been about 4.5 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and cut my eye off here. I'm gonna grab this and carry it over to the sink and get ready to strain these green beans off. So I've got a nice colander here. You can see I've got a bucket with some ice in it and already cold water in it. I'm gonna strain these into a colander, all right? And then I'm just gonna do that. I'm gonna set them in there just like that. That way when I get ready to take them out, they're all good to go. And I have no worries. They're blanched off, they're chilled. I'm not having to pick through any ice whatsoever. That'll give them a nice green color, and they'll keep that color throughout the cooking process. All right, we're just gonna let them sit here and drain off. Now that the mushrooms is starting to get soft, now is when I'm gonna come add in a little bit of Dijon mustard. I got 1 teaspoon here, 1 heaping teaspoon. You don't wanna leave this out. This builds up an acidity in your sauce that makes it really, really flavorful. Now that we're gonna get that mixed in, now for me, I'm gonna pull these gloves off now. I'm kind of done doing anything with that. My hands are clean. I'm gonna use my garlic butter here. You can use your favorite AP seasoning. You can use anything you want. This has got a little bit of heat to it. If you get heavy-handed, you can substitute and use a pinch of cayenne pepper and just salt and pepper, but I'm going in with my garlic butter today. That may have seemed like a lot of seasoning, but you gotta remember, we're making a sauce out of this. We're finna add sour cream, chicken broth, a little bit of garlic, flour. So we just wanna keep cooking these mushrooms down a little bit, and this onion, keep letting it sweat. Now we're only running about a medium heat. I'm gonna keep letting this go a few minutes. And the next thing we're gonna add is a little bit of garlic to this, and when it gets fragrant, then we're gonna add in some flour and start making a roux. All right, now that all the water's about cooked out of our mushrooms here, and we got just a little bit left in here, I'm gonna go in with that garlic. Now, about 2 tablespoons or 2 cloves of garlic is all you wanna use. Now I'm just gonna let that hang out a minute and get fragrant. I wish y'all could smell this. It smells wonderful. And this recipe is a lot better than just using Campbell's cream of mushroom out of a can. But if you're in a pinch, nothing wrong with that. Please use it. I've used it a bunch. But making a dish from scratch and using fresh beans instead of canned beans and making a fresh roux and cream sauce instead of using that canned soup, you can definitely tell a difference, and so will your guests and family. All right, that garlic's been cooking for about 2 minutes, good enough with me. I'm gonna use 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. All right, we just wanna get it in just like that, start incorporating it into our mushrooms. Now, when you get like that right there, you can take a little bit of chicken stock here. I've got a cup. just gonna add just a little bit in there. Now that we've got a cup added total, we're just gonna keep stirring this around, let it get nice and incorporated, and let it cook some more of that flour down just a little bit. Now while your flour and roux and chicken stock is all coming together, I'm gonna take this opportunity to put a little more pepper in mine. Nothing wrong with a little fresh ground pepper. And of course, I'm gonna put a pinch of kosher salt. As all this comes together really good here, starting to thicken up, cooking down some, I've got 3/4 of a cup of heavy whipping cream. You just want to get all this mixed around good. I'm just cooking nice and slow. I'm on a nice medium-low kind of heat. I don't want to cook this fast and scorch it and burn it or anything like that. All right, now that we've got all that incorporated, I'm gonna come back with 1 cup of sour cream. All right, now it's time. This is thickened up a good bit. I'm gonna take a little bit here on a spoon. Definitely good. We're gonna add a little bit of W sauce to this. Just a splash, maybe a teaspoon, okay? And now we're gonna come back with a little more of our garlic butter rub. Just a little more. And now we're gonna go in with a little more black pepper. Look at how thick that is right there. We're getting there. Now you could also take our garlic Parmesan seasoning for wings and add in here. That will be a nice little kick in there. With that Parmesan and that garlic, it will go well with this dish. I decided to use a little bit of Worcestershire to amp this up. It changed the color just a spridge. But you see how thick this is right here? When you can take your rubber spatula and kind of go back, you see that? When you can create a valley and it not run through, that's when you kind of know your sauce is right where it needs to be. That's just how I like sausage and gravy myself too. So I'm gonna kill the heat on this, and let's get ready to put together this magnificent casserole. All right, we've got everything over here. We've got our green beans in our bowl here that's been blanched in cool water and drained off. We've got all of our mushroom mixture here. So I'm gonna pick this up and start scooping it in. Now, once you get that mixture all combined, just like that, look at that. Now you can add about 1.5 pounds of beans if you want. Remember, this is gonna thicken up a little bit, and this is a consistency I like mine. You can always tighten it up a little bit by using a little less flour, right? It's completely up to you. Now this would have been better probably to put it in a 10-inch skillet, but I'm gonna spread it out in this 12-inch and get it all down there like so. And then the one thing that I'm coming back with, you know, I'm putting a little bit of these French fried onions on here. I'm a big onion eater myself. Now you can fry fresh shallots if you want to. I truthfully just didn't want to take the time. Now if you don't like these, or French fried onions anyway, you can always use Ritz crackers. You can add cheese on here. My father-in-law adds cheddar cheese on top of his. So it's completely up to you of what you want to do. So once you get all that spread out, and of course take one for your snack and make sure it ain't gonna kill anybody. I'm gonna wipe my hands off and grab my my little oven mitts here. I've got my Weber fired up to 350 degrees. I'm gonna bake this off for about 30 to 45 minutes and then call it a day. Let's get it out here, get it on this grill, and see how it turns out. All right, we've got our Weber sear wood fired up here, 350 degrees. See those roll oak charcoal pellets doing their job right now? Let's get the grill lid shut. We're gonna let this go for about 45 minutes and we'll be back to check it. All right, our green bean casserole has been cooking 45 minutes. Let's get in here and look at it. Look at that. Bubbly, green bean goodness. Now, I think they're done, so let's take them off, get them in the house, and let them cool down. There's no way that we're gonna eat that right now. That would burn my skin off the roof of my mouth in a heartbeat, and I don't want that today. And remember, it may still look a little runny right now, but once it cools down, it's gonna thicken up. Don't worry about that. Look. Woo! Didn't fold it over all the way back in here. See that? It'll thicken up a little bit. Remember, we're making good old goodness, creamy green bean casserole. Let's get inside. All right, our green bean casserole is off the grill, and just to talk about it a little bit, we took 16 ounces of French cut green beans and kind of trimmed the little stem off the edges and then cut them in half. We parboiled them for about 4 to 5 minutes, pulled them out, shocked them in cold water, and just held them till we made up our cream sauce. So then we took a pat of butter. We took some heavy whipping cream, some sour cream, some chicken stock, some flour, some onions, mushrooms. We made a roux. We cooked the mushrooms, onions down. We added everything to it. We added a little bit of W sauce for flavor. We dusted everything with a little bit of garlic butter rub, and then we come back with a little more black pepper and a little more salt on top of that. And like I said, we added that about tablespoon of W sauce just to give it a little flair, a little pop, and a little more flavor. We let that come down to a good cream sauce, tossed it with the green beans, and then poured everything back in our cast iron skillet. We then got it on our Weber sear wood for 45 minutes. Of course, after we topped it with some French fried green onions. And like I said before, if you don't like the fried onions, you can use Ritz cracker topping or leave topping off altogether. It's completely up to you. The last thing to do is get in here and try this dish. I don't know about y'all, but I'm a fan of green bean casserole, and I for sure want to try this one again. Let's get in here and get us a little bowl of it. You can see that sauce coming together nice and creamy, just what we was talking about. I'm gonna get a little bit of this, still piping hot. I wish y'all could smell this. Be sure to get one of those mushrooms there. That's the best Thanksgiving side you can make by far. I should have saved this one for myself. I'm gonna eat this whole skillet today. That is so creamy, so fresh. Y'all can keep using that cream of mushroom soup if you want, but making it this way, that's definitely the right way. If you like what we're doing on our channel, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow along with your friends. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Pinterest, and of course, YouTube. I'll see you next week with another video. Damn, this is good.